Hello, I'm Monarch, and I'm here to bring you the keys to Ascension. And when talking about the keys to Ascension, we have to first talk about what Ascension is. And Ascension is a spiritual concept that relates to many things. And it, in a lot of ways, comes back to the symbolic story of Jesus Christ and his sacrificial death and ascension into heaven. And so this story is kind of the blueprint for the process of ascension. And Jesus was an Essene, and the Essenes, as written in their holy texts, the Dead Sea Scrolls, talk of ascension being really the purpose of not only Jesus, but the purpose of humanity as a whole. And the way that they kind of symbolically represented the completion of this ascension was through the attainment of the light garment, or the golden fleece, as told about in Greek mythology, which is another story about a sacrificial ram, which then gives rise to a golden fleece that is sought after. And this sacrificial ram also comes back to the story of Abraham and Isaac. And Abraham was pretty much tasked by God with the mission of sacrificing his son. And because Abraham was actually willing to go through with it just because God had asked him to do it, God in the last minute had him sacrifice, or had him switch out a ram for his son Isaac. And so this sacrificial ram it's a deeply rooted ancient concept of sacrifice. And this ancient tradition of sacrifice is the foundation for the process of ascension and the story of Jesus Christ, who is the sacrificial ram or lamb, who is then sacrificed, descends into the underworld, and ascends up into heaven. And when talking about sacrifice, this is a very interesting concept, because we live in a weird time where things like people sacrificing their loved ones to attain a certain status or wealth is it's a deeply rooted conspiracy. And whether it's true or not, it just shows how either practically, physically or psychologically, our understanding of attaining desirable things, attaining things worth pursuing, rests in some sort of sacrifice. And this is of course true because to do anything we have to sacrifice something else. To put our time, attention, energy into anything, we have to sacrifice whatever we're not putting our time, attention, and energy into, right? If we're focused on a career, we may be sacrificing time with loved ones. If we're focused on our loved ones, we may be sacrificing time put into building a career. It's a balance, and you always have to sacrifice something. And with ascension, it's all about this foundational belief or foundational practice that is sacrifice itself. And the sacrifice it's sacrificing anything that holds one down to the material realm. And that's the concept of ascension is this concept of transcending this physical material realm and ascending into a higher realm, which is often conceptualized as heaven or a higher dimension or a new golden age. And these are all symbolic concepts that are abstractly referring to the evolution of consciousness itself. And that's where this process of ascension really comes into play, is that it is the root of spiritual awakening. Those undergoing a spiritual awakening are those who are being asked to sacrifice the things chaining them to this world in order to ascend and transcend this place, this realm that has our consciousness boxed in, so that we can move into the next stage of the evolution of consciousness, the next age of human civilization, which is already being brought about through all the technological advancement. But if we mentally and spiritually don't keep up with the technological advancement, it's only going to lead to destruction and ruin. But regardless, there's something very spiritual going on, and a lot of people across the planet are being called to awaken, transcend, and ascend into this higher conscious realm. And as I said before, the concept of sacrifice is so deep that it relates to every single thing we do. It relates to how we spend our time, attention, and our energy. And in the same way, this process of ascension is built on how we spend our time, attention, and our energy. Our energy it's everything, right? So essentially, everything that we do is spending time, attention, and energy. We're using energy to speak. I'm spending my time, my attention, and my energy to speak, to record this, to bring this message out, because I believe there's a reason to do so. We have a reason for everything we do. We don't spend energy for no reason. We always have a reason. We want to get food, we want to have sex, we want to get money, we want to have cars, we want to do all these things with our time, attention, and energy. And the process of ascension is asking you to sacrifice the material desires, not in full. It's all about integration. We're not asking you to be a purist and completely sacrifice sex and all these things and food and never eat and all this, but to sacrifice the obscene desire for it that controls all of our lives. And when you start sacrificing these things that take up all your time, attention, and energy, whether they be the content you're taking in, the activities you're pursuing, or the things you're doing purely for these lower desires, all of these things keep us chained to the lower three-dimensional realm, the box, the cube. Whereas the process of ascension is asking us to spend our time, attention, and our energy in ways that raise the vibration of our energy up, lifting us up and expanding our consciousness out. And this is through all kinds of things: education, through energy work like Qi and Qigong, through any types of inner work, meditation, visualization, imagination, creativity. It's asking you to really go within, to connect with yourself within, and to spend your time, attention, and your energy in ways that complement your evolving state of being and mind, opposed to just spending it all chained in the cube, chained to this three-dimensional realm. And this is why the concept of higher dimensions is really interesting to me, because the third dimension is the cube, and it's the black cube of Saturn that we're all trapped in. This is the realm of Satan, as they would call it, right? Satan, or the Baphomet, the devil, it rules over the black cube. And this black cube it's this illusionary world. It's this world of matter. And those who are awakening are those who are, we're realizing that this is an illusion. We're realizing that this is the matrix, that this is the black cube, the three-dimensional cube, and that we have to ascend symbolically into this higher dimensional realm of consciousness that transcends all these unnecessary boundaries and all the weird cube, this weird box that's just been put on top of all of us, that it consists of religion and our school system and our every bit of our political system, this entire insane expansive world. And in the same sense, I'm not saying to completely transcend the world that we have, but it's symbolic for a conscious evolution. We're expanding in consciousness in ways that we can allow these unnecessary boundaries, such as religion, we can let them dissolve, but we can do so while still remaining the core truth and the core essence. And that's where I feel like, in opposition to Christianity, this whole materialism, nihilistic philosophy has grown, that doesn't believe in anything. It doesn't believe in any God, and I think that's extremely dangerous as well. That's extremely a part of the cube, right? And the cube encompasses all of these weird boundaries, right? It's like the two faces. On one side we have this ideology, on the other we have this competing ideology, and not one is correct and the other is wrong. They both have some truths and they both have some faults, and they help make up this cube that keeps us divided and keeps us in a box. And this is just one of many, abstract ways we can think about this box or this cube that we're transcending consciously. And the only way that we can actually do it, of course, is by watering the seeds that we have within us and helping them bloom, and then through that process help inspire and guide others. But the process to change the world begins with you, and whether we accomplish this or not, if you do so, we have a much better chance. And not only is it better for the greater good, this is the calling to sacrifice everything that is, it's almost a calling to sacrifice the selfish and the egotistical desires for what we have to do to come together on a greater good, on a collective whole. And this is way deeper than a political system, though. This is way deeper than implementing laws and regulations and codes to force people to apprehend to certain ideologies. This is, people have to be free and they have to be nurtured. And I know that seems insane, but it begins on a philosophical level, and that doesn't mean ideology. It means you have to teach people their true potential. You have to give them some type of belief in themselves. And the culture that we have doesn't do any of those things. It just steals everyone's soul and everyone's energy. And reclaiming your energy it's the first step to ascending in consciousness. And the difference between the process of ascension and the process of success are really just the aim, the goal at the end of the tunnel. Both of these processes require you to discipline yourself, your energy, and your mind. And so regardless of how you view it, regardless of whether you want to sacrifice your selfish desires and take it to that next level, the first step of doing anything you want in this world and doing anything on a higher level than just being completely stagnant is through reclaiming your energy. Quit giving it to TikTok and, to content. I'm not even going to say TikTok, to things that aren't meaningful, to things that aren't helping you grow, to things that aren't helping you evolve. Who knows? There could be a TikTok video that helps trigger that synchronistic moment that you need to make everything click. I don't know. There are no boundaries to where, oh, every TikTok video is bad, this is bad. That's not how this game works. Every time you try and do something like that, it's like, I don't know, I've noticed that you do things like that and it just, from my perspective, the universe will like throw something in your face just to prove you wrong, right? Like there are these boundaries that we think exist, right and wrong, morality. It's very, very gray. And that's why it's not about prescribing to A plus B equals C type of philosophy, but just looking at the good and trying to understand the greater good and trying to just look at things through a philosophy of really, of goodness instead of just black and white morality. And most people are inherently good. A lot of people, the things that they're doing, if you really sit back and dissect it, the things that they're doing are ignorant or they're weak. But, the evil things they do, it's usually pretty petty. There's some real evil in the world, but genuinely, people are genuinely pretty good. And the people who are just simply ignorant and weak, to just get upset at them it's only fitting if you yourself are on such a high level that you're worthy to judge everybody that way, right? If you still do ignorant things, then it's not on you to judge somebody for being ignorant. If you're still, right? And by ignorance, it's like people do a lot of things just because they're not even aware, they're not even conscious, right? They just don't even know. And we can go way deeper into that, but that's like, evil prospers when people don't know it exists. So people that are just ignorant to real shit going on or ignorant to evil, I don't know. There's levels to evil. We'll leave it at that. I don't want to make this a whole morality thing, but all of these are fundamental things to ponder and things to be conscious about if you're really trying to take your consciousness to that next level. And I think for now, that's a good first video. I'm going to ponder on what the next video should be about. This is just a little intro into kind of, I don't know what this is going to be about, and I'm going to let it just kind of evolve and flow itself, and hopefully it brings you some real wisdom. And yeah, let me know if it helps you, and thank you. Peace.